How is it going today? Loyalist
My
Dwayne.
name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne N Jazz. Today we have for you WandaVision episode 8.
8. I was about to say 7.
8 review. I know, we just did 7 a couple days ago. 7's still on the mind. But 8 has just dropped.
8 was lit.
Where we starting off at?
So basically, like, this whole episode is like a recap in a way, but it's like a recap of stuff that we haven't seen. Like, we know this stuff has taken place, we haven't like seen it.
Oh, you know? Yeah. So let's start off with Agatha Harkness. And we did get an answer for my question. Yeah. Because when you was like episode 7, when you walked in, the camera on purpose, you know, the people that made the show on purpose showed you the hex.
Yep.
There's like little hexagon shapes inside her basement.
And you was trying to figure out what that was.
I was like, what that was.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it's like a runic spell. She was like, you haven't seen a runic spell, a protection spell, and whichever witch, you know, the thing, they have, you know, basically can overpower you.
Yeah, she was like, the witch that placed the runes are the only ones that could use power, like their witch powers in that circle or whatever. Yep. So she can't, Scarlet Witch.
So when she was trying to use her power, she was like,
it wasn't effective.
And she was like, you don't know what you are? And she was like,
and even if she tried though, it wasn't gonna work on her. Like she was just like trying to do, because she was trying to read her mind, remember? And then she was like, oh, that's not gonna work.
Then she had Senor Scratchy in her hand.
And she was talking
and
to
she
him.
was telling, what'd you say?
I still think that that's her son. I still feel like that's Nicholas Scratch, and I feel like that's her son. And that's why she talks to him and she fed him and everything like that.
It could be familiar. It could also be familiar.
Or that too.
Yeah, they might not go that dark, Jazz. You know, this is Disney. You might not go that far because
she should. The stuff they showed kind of stopped my
heart.
It was
like I think they should have showed an actual witch trial, which they didn't do. They kind of did.
I'm about to say yeah.
They kind of did. It was a witch on witch trial.
Yeah.
So it gave us a flashback of her Agatha at Salem, Massachusetts in 1692, getting a witch trial, like legit. They were witch on witch, and they was like, you've been dabbling in dark magic. Now my theory is that she might not. I don't think Agatha, because in the comics, Agatha teaches Wanda how to use her powers, because remember, she was telling Wanda, like, you don't know how to do basic spells, and how did you make this hex? And this is like magic on autoplay. Autopilot. Yeah. I'm thinking music. Autoplay. But yeah, you got people on the side of town still. You know, like we saw when Vision was, like the further he got away from in the middle of the hex, the people were like, legit.
They were still under her control, but not as fully as like the other ones that were like closer to the center.
So, but then Jasmine, your theory is that, because the witches were like throwing magic at her, and they were like, you were dabbling in dark magic, and Agatha was like, no, I could be good, I could be good, and they were like, no, and so come to find out, the main witch was her mother, and Agatha had like this purple glow, which is her sign of her power, and she was draining the other witches, and they just became skeletons. And I was like, oh, and then she was like, and Jasmine was telling me, and I was like, you might be right, that she might be like just power hungry, because when she was absorbing the other witch's power, and I don't know if she knew it or knew. I still think that she was trying to be good and that she was defending herself. But go ahead and explain your
that
version.
Scene. Okay, so like, we had a debate because like they were saying that, like, you know, he was trying to say, is Agatha really bad? Like, is she really a bad person?
Yeah.
Or is she good or whatever? And I was like, and he was like, give me an example of like what one thing bad that she did. I said, well, she obviously killed the other witches. And then he was like, but she was doing it in self-defense. I said, yeah, but there was like a slight little like smirk when she found out, because like she might, because like she was saying when she was up on the pedestal and they had her like, you know, tied up and everything, she was saying that she would like to learn. She was like, I could control what I do if you guys would just teach me. And they were refusing to do that and stuff like that, because maybe they think that she's evil or whatever.
Right.
But she was like, I could be good if you guys just teach me. And that means that she doesn't know how to control her powers like fully. And so then when they were trying to like, you know, execute her with their powers and stuff, and they were putting all the beams into her, and then the beams were blue when they turned purple, and it wasn't hurting her anymore. That's when she was like kind of like realizing like, oh, I could suck y'all energy up instead of y'all putting some into me, and it's not hurting me. And when she realized that, that's when it was like a quick like little shot of like her bringing her head up, and it was like a very slight smile, like, oh, like I got y'all now. Like she didn't know, like I think that she truly didn't know that she could do that. But then once she did find out she could do that, she was like, okay, like now I got you. And then because that's her mother, I would think that she would not want to harm her mother. So once she broke out of it and like she just got all the other witches off of her basically in one swoop, and when her arm got free, she was just like, okay, like mom. In my mind, I'm thinking like she's like, okay, mom, I don't want to hurt you. Like just help me. You see what I can do.
Yeah, her mom. She was asking her mom like, yeah, you know, I should still be good, even though these other witches
even though she took them out,
are essentially dead and like a bag of bones.
And even though she took them out, she'd be like, Mom, I could be good if you just teach me. Like I have this power. You see what I can do. Just teach me how to use it. And her mom was like, no. And so since her mom attacked her, she goes in self-defense mode again. And then I don't think that she was sure that she could defend against her mom because, you know, she was the head witch.
Yeah, we saw like her mom had like a little crown or something like that.
And then when she did see it turn purple, she was just like, all right, now I'm going to have to get you, basically. Yep. And then when she got taken over, she got taken out, she went to go get the necklace from her. Yep. And I think that was like a symbol of like her saying like, I'm head queen now. Like I'm the head witch now. Yep. And with that being in relation to Wanda, since Wanda is able to do all of these things, like make Vision, come to find out she actually did take over the town, which is my theory. Yep. She did take over that town.
She did take over that town.
And she did it all by herself. There's nobody that made her do it. She just did it. Mm-hmm. And then she made Vision. So now we know that Vision was like coming from her. Like she manifested Vision to exist.
Literally manifesting Vision
out of
to
herself.
Exist. Yep.
And it's not like a dead corpse that I thought she was parading around. It was just a thought that she had maybe that made that happen. But the fact that she could do that, like make life come there and like control everybody in this town and all this stuff. And Agatha is like, you know, you could do all of this without even knowing the basics of magic. You don't even know how to do transmutation or any of this
She did
stuff.
like, you know, that cicada that we thought was a fly.
She changed that to a bird.
She changed that to a bird and then gave them to Senior Scratch.
And she was just like, it's amazing you don't know that. And you don't know about these rooms, but yet you could do all of this. So that's why I think that Agatha is jealous of Wanda. Mm-hmm. And that's why she's like trying to question her, and which is why she's trying to go back into her life to see at which point she gained all this power, because she wants that power. So that's why I think that she's like just trying to get to the roots of Wanda. Not necessarily like she's bad, but I would say that she will do what she has to do in order to get the power. That's what I think it is. And I think that holding her kids hostage is a major motivation for any parent. Like, okay, like you don't want to give me the real truth? Okay. Now let me hold your kids for ransom.
And that's what we have the flashback scenes of WandaVision, of showing her as a kid, and where we got I Love Lucy and all the sitcoms is because that was like
English.
She was learning English, and that was like their coping mechanism, because I think there was like a war that was going on, and during that time is then when Jasmine had got scared. We was watching.
Oh my god!
That's when the Stark bomb. We actually saw the Stark bomb.
You heard it too.
Boom! Like blew up their apartment.
They were just sitting there having a nice family bonding moment, watching the English sitcom.
Dick Van Dyke Show.
Boom! I was just like, because like you saw their back, like you saw their backs get like kind of like blown, and like that kind of like scared the hell out of me. I was just like, oh my god. So. And
you saw the Stark Industries thing, and then the thing going. And then, but you still like saw like they were like under her and Pietro like still under her bed, and then hiding, and then you saw like the TV of the Dick Van Dyke Show still on, and she was like, we stood there for 2 days, and then that's when Agatha like pulled her under the bed, because Agatha like they like made her like, you know, Wanda's an adult, but then it like I think through Agatha's power she made her like a kid again, like replaying the scene, relive it, and so she was like, no, I don't think that's what happened. I don't think it went off because it didn't went off. I think you
made
casted a spell without knowing it,
because she had her hand out. She had her hand out.
And then right before it looked like something was gonna happen, that's when they pulled her under the bed. I was like, oh. And so then I think, what's the next scene? What's the next scene after that?
The next one was when she went to the Hydra base. Yeah, and she was a volunteer for the experiments and stuff like that with the scepter that they had in the Mind Stone. And the thing that was tripping us, because we had a debate over that too. Yeah. Because when they showed the scene with the yellow Mind Stone coming out, and she's like looking at it, but she doesn't really touch it. She just looks at it, and then she just sees like a being like come down, and then like she just like faints or whatever, and then like you see the footage of like the scientists looking back at it, and it looked like it was a jump cut, because it looked like it was a jump cut of her like standing there, and then it was a jump to her falling to the ground. And so Dwayne was like, oh well, she never interacted with it. It was all in her head. I was like, no, I think she did did interact with it. It's just that it was edited out, like just like the whole sitcoms were. Like, the sitcoms were edited out whenever something you didn't want to be seen got cut out. It got cut out because it was just like she stood and then bam.
Yeah,
it didn't show her falling down.
It didn't show her falling bam, right?
So that's why I was like, I think that was an edit.
But but when that was happening, we saw from Wanda's point of view that it was like she was just standing there, and then we saw this figure that was just like glowing in her eyes, and Jasmine thinks,
I think that's her.
That's her.
Yeah, I think that's her, like in the future, like as like Scarlet Witch, you know, because her name, everybody's calling her Wanda, they're not calling her Scarlet Witch. So like I think that was her because it had like the same like
it looked like the same costume that like her costume,
having like her cape and everything. So I think that was her seeing herself like later on. Like,
you know what I think it is? I think that's like maybe a past iteration of her, because later on in the episode, after she's done with all looking back, at everything, and we learn more, Agatha is holding her kids hostage, and then she was telling. That's when we finally get, because to this point we haven't got. We know Wanda Maximoff is Scarlet Witch. We haven't. We were like, when they're gonna give her her actual hero name? Yeah. And so Agatha's over there in her full witch uniform and got her little necklace and stuff like that, and she's holding her kids hostage, and she's like, "You're supposed to be a myth. Your power. You know what your power is? Chaos magic. Yeah. And you're supposed to be a myth, and you're the Scarlet Witch." Me and John was like, "Woo!"
And that's why I think that she's jealous.
I think that what Wanda saw in that flashback was maybe like a past iteration of the Scarlet Witch, and I think that you know how like reincarnation. I think that's like it was like an old version of the Scarlet Witch, maybe in like way back in time, and this is the next iteration, and then there might be like another iteration maybe after Wanda's done with her term as the Scarlet Witch. But then we go. That's just my theory.
Then we gotta talk about Vision.
Now we gotta talk about the third part of the flashback, which was her going to sword.
Yeah, Hayward.
Oh, he's a I got it. Just don't you say it.
Bastard.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there you go.
You want to get demonetized.
I know. He
is. He is. We got to keep it family friendly. He is.
It seems like he lied about.
Seems.
Well, no. I mean, he did.
Seems.
But okay, because we were going back and forth with this, because he was trying to get Wanda because he was like, oh, she's a terrorist and all this other stuff. And she broke into the sword thing to get Vision's
Stole his body.
And come to find out, she didn't even do that. All she did was walk there. She asked politely to go in because she knows that the body is there, because she said she went back to the site where he died and his body wasn't there no more. She's like, so I know that y'all got it over here. And so then she went over there and she saw him basically just getting broken apart, because they were like, oh, he's not even a real person. Like he's property of sword, because he's a sentient and everything.
Yeah, because the Sokovia Accords and all that jazz.
And so then she did break the window down. She did break the window down, but she didn't take his body. She saw it there and she was trying to like put her hand over the stone to see if she could revive him, but it wasn't working. And
that answers our question a few episodes ago, was when we was like, she like walked wide, like there was literally nobody stopping her, and now we know that the footage was altered to make it seem like she broke Vision's body out, but
she did not.
Nope, they literally Hayward let her in.
Yep. And then that leads us to the question, because there was an end cut scene. There's an end cut scene in the end credits where it showed that he got the gun that had Wanda's energy on it.
The little the drone.
Yeah, the drone.
The drone.
He was like, all we needed was the energy from the source. Like, and so they used that energy to get the real Vision's body and reanimate it almost and like come back to life, but like he's coming back to life as like White Vision. And I'm thinking that is a way, I have a theory that is a way they're going to bring Ultron back to me, because I have two things. Because like for one, whenever you finish an episode of WandaVision, they always show Age of Ultron at the end. Like Disney,
and we thought that was just them like trying to let you know her background, her origin
I thought that was just because like to show why Wanda is doing all of this is because of that movie. But it could be that and the fact that they're bringing him back. And I feel like that's what they're going to do.
And we was looking at the casting, and then you saw the man that played, voiced Ultron in the casting. And that's how we got spoiled with Pietro.
Yeah.
And so now we really think that Ultron is coming back, maybe, episode 8. Because if you remember, before we get into that, before we get into our theories, let's finish up the review of the episode. So, it showed, like, in the third act, it showed her going to Sword, basically leaving Vision alone.
Yeah, she left him alone. She didn't do anything.
She was like, baby, you know, I can't get you back. Well, that's it. And then left. And then she had like a folder of where her and Vision were.
Yeah, they were. That was so sad. Like, she saw that, and then she went to Westview, which was the area where Vision was looking at for them to have their own home. Like, and he marked out the place with a little heart.
And you just see the concrete outline of the house.
Yeah, like they were planning to live there.
And that's when we started seeing that Westview is like not too like it's an old town, abandoned pool.
I wouldn't say it's an old town. It's just a regular town.
It looked like to me when she was riding by and we start seeing the neighbors that we see in the sitcom. Certain places were closed down, and it's in the middle of the day. We have an appliance shop that's closed down in the middle of the day. She's driving by, and then you see a pool area that usually would be full with people, and it's all ran down. The gates broken down. So that town, it looked kind of depressing in its own. And I think that's only
not too shabby.
Not when your pool place is like the pool. You know how they have like the little thing that you put over the pool. Right, the little like plastic covering you put on the pool so that you make sure like when like
leaves don't get
leaves and stuff. There is no plastic covering on the pool. The gate is broke down.
Yeah.
That pool has not been used in years. I think this town is like done for. Like you know how they abandoned towns. This town looks like it's about to be abandoned, and that I only think helped fuel Wanda's grief. And so when she got to the plot of land and she was just like, oh, this is where we could have lived at and I lost everything. That's when you just see all her hex magic, all the energy just burst out.
Yeah.
And that's when everything got changed.
That's like all that grief. Like I could have had a life with him here and stuff like that. And I have like nobody. And so like that's what like kind of triggered her to like finally take over the town basically and turn it into what she was used to seeing, which is like the sitcoms and stuff. And like everything turned black and white. She manifested Vision to be there.
And that's why now I see, and now me and Jazz finally see why she's so angry.
And
that's why she wants to be just left alone.
Didn't know anything. Because we were like, why doesn't he know? Maybe
because he was born. Because he was born after.
Out of her.
Right.
He didn't have those memories of being in the fight with Ultron and stuff because he wasn't there. That's not him. Like this is a fake one. Basically. So I was just like, okay, I see. And with Vision's body and Hayward. I'm like,
oh my god.
Hayward. Okay, so I have a theory too that Hayward's, because like we found out with Darcy's hacking that Hayward was tracking Vision, and we were thinking that he was tracking the one inside the head.
We was kind of weird about it. We was like vibranium decay. I never heard about Captain America's shield's been intact for years. You've been throwing that thing for years.
Because I'm like, okay. Because when we saw where Vision actually came from Wanda, that made me question. Okay, where the hell and how did Hayward put a tracker on Vision if it came from Wanda? And I'm like, no. That's because it's not that Vision inside of it. It's the one that he has on the base that he's not telling anybody about. And it's right there. And that's why we see Vision in the end credit scene, like with him all put together. And now he's up because his body was there the whole time. Not in Westview. It was outside of Westview with everybody else, but people didn't know that.
And I think Darcy and them didn't know that. Of course they didn't know that. And that was him there the whole time.
Yeah, he was there the whole time.
And they were trying, and then they come to find out that post-credit scene that he was trying to figure out a way to turn him back on. I think trying to like have like a defender, like his weapon, because it's not sentient world observation anymore. It's sentient weapons observation. So it's like, wow, really, this man Hayward, really, and that's where we're getting our theory. This is all theory time. We got through the whole episode. Basically, at the end, Wanda's out of the little room, so she could just go ahead and fight Agatha, and Agatha's holding her kids. And now we're trying to. Now this is just theory time. Do you think that those kids are real?
Yes.
You think those? Why? Why do you think those?
Because with Vision wasn't a real Vision because like it showed that like he manifested like out of her, like it was like out of her like soul,
legit, like
and then
the mind,
the particles was coming together and he came there. But with the kids, she actually birthed them out. She actually pushed them out of her body. It wasn't like these kids just came out and pop, they're there. Like she pushed them out. And I think that's why the kids are not affected by like her magic and stuff like that because she doesn't have control over that because they're their own being. Yeah, she didn't have control of the situation to begin with. Yeah, they're their own being. So that's why I think that the kids are real. Vision is not. But now the real Vision out there is going to turn into, well, he's
we
White Vision.
We think he's White Vision, but
I think that he'll be Ultron later on. I feel like.
Because if you guys remember, and this is where we're going to make our connections at, Homecoming Spider-Man, Vulture, he basically was like taking alien weapons and reselling them on the black market. Very bad stuff.
Yeah.
Very bad. So they had weapons. He killed that one guy with the Chitauri weapon and repurposing them. And then if you remember, they like had a little base area, and we thought that the Avengers destroyed all the bits of Ultron.
Nope.
But Spider-Man, if you go back in Homecoming, when he was pulling the stuff, there was an Ultron helmet there. So that makes us think that maybe Ultron isn't dead as we think he was, and that he's an AI. It's not like he's an actual being. He's an AI, so he might be somewhere in the internet hiding.
Know how AIs go, because they're always built with the intention of helping humanity, but the AI's version of help is get rid of.
Yeah.
So
we're
that's
gonna
why
help you guys by getting rid of you.
I'm like they're technically fulfilling their purpose, because in the AI's mind, they're like, humanity is destroying the world. Humanity
thus destroying itself.
Yeah, it's destroying everything. So I need to then destroy humans, because that is the sickness.
Right.
So I need to cure it with getting rid of the humans. And I'm like, this is why I think that Ultron, like with White Vision, is going to be evil, because I'm just like, it's not going to be good. Like, it's not going to be good. Because they're always built with good intentions, but then it never turns out.
That's how Ultron was created, because in the comic books, Hank Pym created Ultron, but in the MCU version, Tony Stark and Hulk created him, and so Bruce Banner created him, and so now it's like okay, if you guys remember, we got that helmet in Spider-Man Homecoming where Ultron, there's still a piece of Ultron out there, so it's very possible that he could come back. He was a reoccurring villain in the comic book, and so now also, if you guys remember, in Age of Ultron, he downloaded a great portion of himself into that body of Vision, and he hated Tony Stark, but now that Tony Stark is dead, his new thing might be like, now I gotta get all of the Avengers now. So and I think that now that White Vision is gonna be Ultron. Yeah, that's why he was like looking at his hand and stuff like that.
When I saw him, I was like, this is not
because because Tony and Bruce Banner basically overwritten Ultron with Jarvis, and so now that Jarvis is essentially gone, I think maybe that Ultron was somewhere in his subconscious or something like that. It's about to be White Vision is basically Ultron, and we're about to get Ultron next episode. It's going to be Agatha versus the Scarlet Witch versus Pietro.
Well,
because that's not Pietro, that's Pietro. She called him Pietro. He
was basically like a puppet.
Yeah, like
he was like a puppet. Like she said, that was her eyes and ears.
Yeah,
basically. So we need to figure out what she did with Monica.
Yeah, we do. We never got.
Pietro is the eyes and ears of Agatha. So what did Agatha do with Monica? Because we didn't see Monica at all the entire episode. So where is she?
We didn't get Darcy. We didn't get Agent Wu.
Yeah, we didn't see nobody.
We didn't get Monica.
Yeah,
we didn't get none of them that episode. So it's about to go down next episode. We're gonna have Ultron versus Vision.
Yep.
Agatha versus Scarlet Witch versus Hayward versus Spectrum. Because that dude Hayward, bro.
He need to go.
Oh Lord, he made me hate him even more. He did a great job. They did a great job of making us hate him, because the way that he talked to Monica, and then he was lying the whole time.
Yes. I was like, you're lying, you hiding stuff, and then you're gonna say that stuff to Monica about her mom when she's like dead. Like, good thing you wasn't here when she died. Like, man, because right there, I would have punched him in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have been like, you are not going to
You crossed the workmanship line right there, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm about to.
Because right there, I don't care if you are my boss. If you were my boss, you wouldn't be talking to me like that. So you've drawn the line right there. That this don't even. It's not even professional.
These hands are ready to eat for everyone. And on top of that, not only did you diss Monica's mom and talk about that whole situation. You lied about the situation with Vision and her taking his body. And then on top of that, we still don't know who Agent Wu was looking for. Because I don't know if Ralph is a real person or if Agatha was lying the whole time.
I think that Ralph may not be a real person. I feel like Ralph is just somebody that she just made up. Cause like in the old sitcom days and stuff, they'd be like, oh, like, you have your husband and stuff like that. Because she's not really a part of that. She's like, oh yeah, Ralph.
Yeah. And
you never see her with Ralph. So that's why I'm like, I think she was just lying about that too.
I think she might
just
be
like she was lying about the way that she was making it look like Wanda had control over her when she didn't.
Yeah.
She was just like, oh, I was faking the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I think that she was lying about Raul.
She might be lying about Raul,
Yeah.
but Agent Wu still was looking for somebody, so we still haven't got him or her yet.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're like, now we still that's another mystery that we haven't get, that we might get like in the next series. And I think that Hayward secretly doesn't like superpowered beings.
He might not.
And that's why he's like, we need a weapon. That's why he's so like, we need a weapon. We need a weapon. And that might tie in. Hayward might tie in with, you know, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because of like, you know, Zemo, like he didn't like superhumans either. He like, you guys causing a lot of problems and stuff like that. And so Hayward and Zemo might get together maybe.
I just
after
wish that
this.
the characters that are set up to like think like that, like they don't like the superhero beings and stuff, because like what they could possibly do. I'm like, but don't make them do it. Like it just don't make them, like they're trying to help. Okay, there's literally astronomical forces coming down to you. Your military ain't gonna help you.
Nope.
They're not gonna defend against, you know, invasions coming from aliens. They're not gonna do that. So
I mean, we saw what a great job Thanos did.
Right.
He did a great job.
I'm just like, so when they're trying to help you guys, yes, there is going to be damage, and I know that that's bad.
Oh well, now it's like, cool. I think everybody, humanity in the Marvel universe agreed that you guys are good. At first, we was like, okay, y'all going around wrecking stuff, and it wasn't to this level of what Thanos did, was snapping half the beings. Like, I would be like, yeah, Avengers, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, imagine if they would have Thanos snapped, right? And me and you doing the video right now, right? And we in the Marvel universe, and you just get dusted while we in the middle of the video.
That's what I'm saying.
I would have been like,
I'm just like, okay, so would you rather have property destroyed or being alive? Which one do you want?
Right.
I'd rather be alive. Okay,
right.
I'll take that. That's why I'm just like, stop treating them like criminals, because they're going to eventually become that. If you do, you keep picking at people like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna be like, I might as well do it.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
there's always, even in situations like that where there's gonna be like this Marvel, this Avengers level threat, there's still gonna always be politics right beside it. Oh well, since America got their superheroes, somebody else is gonna make their own superheroes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just like, why? Like, why do we have to do that? Why do we have to be in war 24/7?
Like, you guys aren't gonna have the monopoly on superheroes. We're gonna try to make our own at this point. Like, I'm legit telling you that's how it's gonna be. Like, if it was gonna be that way, they're legit gonna like Russia. Like, they're. I'm sorry for bringing Black Widow back up, but they have their own little program, you know.
I know.
And they making their own superheroes. So I'm sorry, Rick.
You know I'm blown.
Listen,
that.
it's that you're only a few months away. Hopefully they won't delay it. It comes out May 7th.
Watch me get to May 1st. They're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna push it back. Push it back to 2022. I'm like, you know what? I don't care, man. I don't care no more.
Because we got Falcon. We got one more episode left. I really hope they make this an hour plus long. Like, hour and 30 would be perfect.
I'm gonna go into with no expectations again.
I know.
No expectations, because every time be like, oh, we hope that it's this, and it better be this, and then when it's not what it is, even though they've never announced that it was going to be, then you're going to be disappointed. Like, well,
I want them to jam-pack so much action and everything into this last episode of WandaVision.
I was about to say Lex Luthor.
No.
I was say that's a whole nother franchise.
No. This next, I would, in a perfect world, I would love an hour and 30 minutes worth of action, like a legit movie. And then I hope that it does tie into Captain Falcon. I can't call him Captain Falcon. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I know,
he's basically gonna be Captain Falcon when he gets his shield. And then I can't wait for Loki this summer, and how that's gonna tie in. And then Black Widow. I wonder how that's gonna tie in. I wonder if that is gonna tie in with these series. Are they gonna reshoot it to tie in, or
the only thing that I think that it might tie in with is maybe Hawkeye.
Maybe Hawkeye, yeah.
That's the only one that I think that they'll maybe have a direct anything. Because Hawkeye and Widow, they had that like dialogue where it was like, oh, this ain't like nothing like Budapest, or this reminds me of Budapest. So they did something together in Budapest, but we've never seen it. So maybe it's in that. Yeah. And then maybe that will tie in with Hawkeye's like show or series or whatever.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
But what do you rate the episode 1 through 10?
I rate it actually a 10 because I like seeing the background of like where stuff started at and like how she was learning English and everything like that. Like that, I liked it.
I give it a 10 too. I kind of got bored during the little flashback scenes because we pretty much understood.
Well, you never liked stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to get to the meat because remember how they did Zemo's background story? They just told you. I mean, with like Zemo's background story where he just told you what happened and that's what happened instead of like, okay, let's go back. And you guys told us, we know her background story multiple times. I feel like they could have just not gone with that and just literally just told us and then got to the meat. But it's okay. I'm going to give it a 9. And then they need to fast forward the credit scenes because I'm tired of them long credits. Well, legit, the episode be like 40 minutes, but then it says 47 minutes. But part of that is 7 minutes of credit. Yeah. So I don't count that as actual content.
Yeah, that's true.
And the credits are moving super slow because I remember the first episode we watched the credits through just in case there was a post credit. We should just fast forward it, but we just we doing us because we thinking like movies. Like if this was the movies, we can't fast forward. We have to sit and wait.
Yeah.
So we sitting and wait. And we're like, this is like and it's moving super slow. I'm like, are y'all serious? If y'all don't fast forward the credits, you still gonna get it, or have a nice way of showing credits. Like throw some flair or something in the credits to make it look at least like something different, not just a black screen with people's names going on. I thank the people for help creating the show. It's an awesome show, but like make it creative, be different, think outside the box. That's just like a little rant with these post credits because I hate that stuff.
I know you do.
I do because it's crazy how the episode 40 minutes long and then you got 7 minutes worth of the credits. What? Are you serious? All right, that's it. Anyway, that's our review.
I'm just letting you rant.
That's our review. That's my little rant. Those post credit scenes, are great, but the after the post credit scene and you just have the names. No, they need to do better with that. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, guys, comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It's just more deuces.